Smoking alone can lead to so many different experiences. Unlike smoking with others, where the dynamic of the group's collective synergy determines the vibe, that vibe is up to you and whatever's going on up in that thick head of yours. In my case, my brain wants to do 5 different things all at once, and I end up led down strange rabbit holes. Just look at this clip I found once.
It's extremely creepy to think about the fact that Mario may be facing a purgatory where he has to face the loss of everyone he failed to protect.
Anyways, during my last late night solo session, I decided to track everything I did in my notes app. So here's what I wrote about the journey. Once I began my high, I realized, yo, I bought this projector the other day just for an occasion like this. So I turned it on and sat in my big chair. I did what I do every time, and I played Snowfall by One Heart on my Alexa. I had created a nice little setting for myself, so I sat back, looked at the ceiling, and existed in it. Then thoughts came over me. I started to have evil thoughts corrupting my mind. The demons were taking over quickly, so before they had a chance to overcome me, I went on my iPhone SE and opened YouTube. The first video that came up on my recommended was called The Quiet Sadness of Mario Galaxy. And after my demonic ordeal, I thought to myself, that's just like me, I gotta watch this one. But as I clicked on the video, I got an advertisement for Pizza Hut's new melts and instantly forgot about everything else. In this moment, all I wanted was to taste these delicious, cheesy new Pizza Hut melts. They looked so unequivocally delicious. All other foods paled in comparison to the melt's greatness. So I clicked on the ad, which sent me to a screen that asked me to make a Pizza Hut account to continue. I tried for like 10 minutes to make an account, to no avail, until I saw there was a guest option. But if you're a guest, you still can't order Pizza Hut. God damn it, I can't take this anymore. I'm using Postmates. And then I suddenly got an earth-shattering text message from Roman. Bad news, y'all. My parents are getting a divorce and my dad's in jail. Oh no. Do not fret. Little did I know this message was a bit of a troll. If I had just looked at the message above it that read, Roman, save my divorce voice recordings, I could have pieced it together, but I didn't. The big dog Cole was running a meme sending Roman voice recordings pretending to be his father, saying he was getting a divorce. But again, I didn't realize this. How did this happen? I need to call him. Bro, explain this to me. Yeah, my parents are getting a divorce. My dad's in jail. Really? Yep, he's in jail, rotting and divorced. Well, he didn't seem too bothered by that. Oh god, I'm so hungry. I need that Postmates. I had finally ordered the elusive melts, and while waiting for them, I decided to go back and watch that Mario video. I got probably 1 minute exactly into my viewing until my eyes cheekily shifted down to the first recommended video, being one of those house building process videos. This joint will hit right now, sheesh. As you can imagine, it didn't take long for my brain to start thinking something else. I bet I could build a house. Why don't I just build one right now? I'll play Minecraft and show this guy he could only dream to build a house as good as me. I turned on the PS4 to see the game disc wasn't in, and I'd have to get up from my chair to solve this problem. So I just sat there and did nothing. This allowed my demons, corruption, and evil sludge to coat my mind once again with its wickedness until... Pizza time! Pizza time! Forgetting the existentialism, I instantly ran to the door to acquire the payload. It seems it was just a little too fast though, because as soon as I opened the door... Thanks. It was finally time. The moment we'd all been waiting for. All the blood, sweat, and tears were about to finally pay off in this massive climax of an event. This looks so good. Holy. I took the first bite of the most heavenly food on the face of the planet. It was exactly what the commercial had promised. This melt was quite literally busting in my mouth with every delicate and cheesy bite I took. I devoured the entire thing in roughly 1 minute on my beast mode savagery, and then threw myself back into the big chair. I was finally determined this time to finish the Mario video. I wasn't about to let anything stop me. So as I unlocked my phone, I saw it was still on that house making video, and I remembered Minecraft was waiting for me. But this time, I was changed. After devouring such a great melt, I was feeling formidable and brave enough to get up and put Minecraft into the PS4. I perfectly executed the operation, loaded up a new world, and after 20-something minutes, I made myself the most generic wooden plank house imaginable. Feeling pretty good about this, I opened my phone again, disliked the house building video in an act of ownage and deviosity. Then I got back to my Mario video. Realizing how awesome I was, I felt I couldn't fully relate to the themes of this video as well as 30 minutes ago me would have. But regardless, I watched the whole thing and only paid attention to the visuals and the music since it was all very cute. It was just so nice seeing all of these bright colors and peering into the endless depths of space while listening to the music that by the end of it, I was feeling a tad sleepy. I stumbled my way back to my bed and lay down. As I was falling asleep, I felt as though I myself was drifting through space just like the Mario man himself. It was truly serene. This was probably the least intelligent moment of my entire life. Unintentionally getting high for 3 consecutive days. This happened back when I lived with roommates. I had one roommate that would always buy those storage jars to put his food into. Unknowing to me, he had a jar of very special gummy bears that would sit on the kitchen counter in full view from anywhere in the living room. These special gummy bears, due to the jars he would put them in, were completely unmarked and proceeded to make me become an unknowing victim to their powers for the next 3 days. So I woke up at 5 a.m. like the champion beast trailblazer I am. I got my pre-workout and went out to drink it in the living room. This was when I first laid eyes on the gummy bear jar. I thought one little bear wouldn't hurt, so I eat it, drink the pre-workout, and drive to the gym. A little bit into my workout, I'm starting to feel sloshed. Damn, the pre-workout really hitting today. Sheesh, I feel like Charizard. But then it starts to get worse. I'm doing these curls like 1, 2, 4, 2, 3, 6. I just can't count correctly. My mind is all scattered. I started to realize something was really off when I got on the treadmill and ran 3 miles without feeling a shred of fatigue. I was just in a mental trance the entire time I ran. I go into the locker room, and while I sit here finally with a moment to myself, I realize I probably should not drive myself home. I had to wake up the boy Roman to pick me up and also bring someone else to take my car back because I felt crazy. He pulls up with Cameron and the operation is followed through. Are you alright, man? Yeah, I just feel different, but not bad. We get home and I've got a Zoom class to attend in about an hour. As I'm walking to my room, I pass the gummy bears and eat another one. While I wait for my class, I remember just sitting in my chair, staring at my PC, doing nothing like a zombie. I was trying to mentally will myself into being functional for this class, but since I ate the other gummy bear as I entered my room, it just got worse. I sat in this class just staring at myself in this little Zoom camera window. The teacher even called on me at one point, but I just kept staring. I didn't say a word. It may have been from me being so high I couldn't process what was happening, but there was not a word spoken from me. I woke up this day pretty tired from the high of yesterday, but I still hadn't put 2 and 2 together and realized the bears were edibles. I had an in-person class today to attend, so I left for that pretty early and again ate a gummy on my way out. The gummy hit as I was walking to class and I was like, God damn it, not again, what's happening to me? I keep walking to class because God picks his hardest fights for his strongest soldiers, until I realize I have no idea where I'm at. A few wrong turns had been made without me realizing it, and now I gotta figure out how to get back. I probably walk around these neighborhoods for like 30 minutes just trying to find my way back on track to get to class. But then I remember, oh yeah, I got a phone, I can use this. So I maps my way back to campus, but I had not made the calculations required to know by the time I got there, the class would be over. I walk into the lecture room that would be my class, and there's a whole different teacher in class going on that I attend thinking, nah, this has got to be the same class. I bet this is just a substitute. The class ends and I'm still oblivious to the fact that that was not the lecture I was meant to be in. An email pops up on my phone about my absence and I remember replying to the email just saying not true and then walking all the way home. I had homework to do, but as I sat down to do it, I was like, yo, the teacher did not teach us this today. So I just played Elden Ring for the next 8 hours of the day. All this weed I had been consuming kind of messed up my sleep schedule because I woke up this day a good amount later than usual. So when I walked into the living room, my roommates were all awake and out there. I was like, guys, that thing keeps happening to me. I think I gotta go to the doctors today. Something's just not right with my body or something. I reach in and eat another gummy while I'm out here, but this time in full view of all my roommates. Roman's like, bro, you're really gonna eat an edible this early in the day? And just like that, all of the stars aligned in my head. I had been drugging myself on these gummy bears unintentionally for the past 3 days. So you're telling me that those are edibles? I've been eating those every single day recently. Then everyone just erupts to clown on me. These dudes couldn't act right. They're like, oh my fucking god, this dude's a dumbass. So I run into my room in tears and listen to Heartless by Kanye West. I hate my friends. At one point, we've all consumed more substances than we can take and lost some sort of bodily function. Whether that's the loss of literal control over your body or the loss of your mind, so you just act on all of your primal monkey thoughts. Either way, something is lost. So even if this story is the highest I've ever been, if you've watched me for long enough, you'll know that the only thing that I lose is my shame. I have an ability to hard body substances without ever dropping. So at least originally, this night was going to be planned as a mushroom trip between me, Roman, Adam, and Roderick. And I'll just skip the scene setting because I know you just want to see the drugs. So me and Roman pick up 6 grams of shrooms, stop by the Holy Land for snacks, arrive at Adam's luxurious estate, and get inside to prepare for the Ninye content farm. Also, Cameron was there too, so let's not forget about him. Round of applause for Cameron, although he was going to be sober and exclusively doing homework on his MacBook this night. So you got the stuff, my brethren? Yeah, bro, I got it right here. Let's just bust this bad boy open. We got gypped, and the plug only gave us 4 grams. So the 4 of us ended up only eating 1 each. Right after eating these mushrooms, Adam, Roderick, and Roman ran off to probably smoke, but me, I'm more reserved than that. I made the respectable decision to stay back and help Cameron with his homework. And it wasn't because I like him or anything. So me and him bust through a good chunk of these questions until these words start to become a little hard to read. And these mushrooms are making my belly feel a little queasy. Those 3 goons that left before bust through the door and instantly and simultaneously start explaining how the mushrooms feel to Cameron for some reason. It's really cool, bro. It makes me feel really cool. Yeah, it's awesome, bro. It feels superfluously awesome. It makes me feel alive. It makes me want to take someone's life. In between my upset tummy and the juxtaposition from solo Cameron time, it felt like I got punched. Boys, I want to do homework right now. Frick you, bro. Fuck off, bro. What are you talking about? I was being bullied. You know what? I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Oh my god. Despite us all having just 1 gram each, they were enough. These were some strong guys. As I had that moment to myself and overcame the queasy, I left the bathroom and everyone was gone. Although, I heard faint music from the porch. As I walked out, I see these 4 are smoking a big dog style cigar in the snow outside, and Cameron was making beats in Logic Pro. Ooh, there's the big homework, baby. What'd you do in the bathroom, bro? Put a diaper on? Did you put a diaper on in the bathroom? Fug homework, bro. Check this out. This was my snapping point. My friends were relentlessly bullying me, and I had to do something now to redeem the great Ninye name I was known for. Give me that cigar, boys. Check this out. Damn, bro, you're not supposed to inhale it. This didn't exactly hit the way I thought it would, but in this moment, a shining opportunity presented itself. Who wants weed, boys? So all of us, minus Cameron, scurry our little feet downstairs, into the garage, and hop in Adam's classic weed Porsche. Adam pulls out the big dog bong, and I knew this was the time. This was the moment I would fully redeem my stained legacy and go down a legend. I got handed the bong first, and as I held held it, all my memories flashed through me like visions. When Roderick called me a homework baby, when Roman said I wore diapers, it would all be sanctified in this moment. I lit up, and as I'm sucking on this bong, I don't let go. I take the biggest bong rip of my life until my lung capacity can't take a single more milliliter of smoke. As I exhaled, the entire car is filled with smoke, and I'm coughing like Walter White. This shit hearted. Afterward, I just lay down in the back of the car while my body recovered. The bong was passed around a few rotations, but I couldn't take any more, so I just waited until we all finally got out. And once I stood up, I realized how high I was. So as we all stumble back to the bedroom, I go up to Cameron and I ask him, "Bro, let me see the laptop, bro." I had a golden joke cooking. I sit down with Roman in an attempt to open Google Images, search for Patrick Bateman, and my joke was gonna be that I said that was Cameron doing his homework. But I only got to search Patrick in the search bar before I hit enter, which brought up Patrick's star, which had this image from an Amazon link to a Funko Pop that the two of us found a lot funnier than the original joke would have been. But then I took it further by clicking on the image, bringing me to Amazon where I bought it. I bought the Funko from Cameron's laptop on his account with his card and shipped it to his parents' house. I was on fire. I was in my element here. Then Adam brings out the vodka and I'm chugging that thing like a Division I football player. Then Adam brings out the canned wine and I'm chugging those things like a Division I football player. I had completed the holy trinity of substances: earth, water, fire, but I was missing air. And I don't normally do this, but I start ripping Roderick's vape. And with all these substances combined into me, I was just like Avatar Aang. I guess my mind was still on SpongeBob because I really wanted Cameron to play the outro song from SpongeBob on his MacBook. But the video Cameron brought up wasn't just the SpongeBob outro. It was, I put the SpongeBob outro over the end of humanity. And as soon as this video came up, I had another golden bit to come to me. One that would even top the Funko Pop one. Cameron, hold your laptop up so that everyone can see. Boys, this video is something I've worked very hard on over the past few years, and I'm so happy to finally have it come to fruition. You didn't make that, bro. That's a YouTube video. They want you to believe that. But let me continue. As you know, my YouTube channel has grown at an extremely fast rate recently, and I wanted to celebrate the monumental achievement of 200,000 subscribers with a celebration that's fitting. So I've planted 200,000 bombs across New York City, and what you're seeing now is live drone footage broadcasted from my channel. But it's not just New York. The more subscribers I get, the more bombs I plant, until even we are engulfed by fire and explosion. It's just my way of saying thank you for all of the support I've received thus far. As you can imagine, that bit killed it. I could confidently say that my name was saved from the disaster of earlier that night. I walked out of the room and into Adam's library, basking in glory. Like I said, he has a luxurious estate. He has a library. And still vaping, I sit on his oversized reading throne until I passed out for the night. These big old doohickeys are notorious for being the kings of smoking equipment. Just look at this list, it's at number 1. And it's for a good reason. Anyone who's ever used one knows just how lethal a few hits can be. And I did 10 big hits living to tell the tale, baby. I was in a smoke competition with this guy that is genuinely unhinged and vile as a person, but we'll get into that. It all started in one of my stacked classrooms. I had Roderick, Adam, Roman, need I say more? But there was one unnamed mystery individual in this class as well. No one knew him, but also everybody knew of him. He'd always be dressed up extremely classily. He had this pot hat he always wore. He had those anime hoodies and his classic lightning bolt Crocs. The dude dressed so loudly despite never speaking a word once, until Roman did his talking to strangers thing and came up to the squad like, "Yo guys, I talked to the Croc guy, he seems kinda cool, I'm gonna hang out with him." But then "I'm gonna hang out with him" quickly turned into "we all hang out with him," because the three of us were just too curious to meet this guy. We had to be there. So the plans were made of of course, at Adam's magnificent property, the day had come and the boys were all dressed up head to toe for Croc Guy's arrival. As he burst through the front door, we were all pleasantly surprised to see he was still sporting that iconic look. Considering his hat, we wasted no time to get to the point. You wanna smoke? Sure. So we get the equipment and all tiptoe downstairs ready for smoke time. So how often you smoke that epic, bro?
Just about every day.
Oh, alright. So you think you can do more than I can?
Well, why don't we find out, huh?
So I grab that thing, take a hit, and pass it over to him. It goes around its rotation about 3 more times before the big man Adam has to tap out. 2 more rotations, and Roderick taps out. Then ultimately, once we get to the 7th hit, I look over at Croc Guy, and he says to me,
I can't do this anymore.
So me and Roman do a celebratory dance to commemorate victory. I feel on top of the world! We need to go to the gym! So we go into Adam's home gym. Like I said, he's got quite the estate. And me and Roman start hitting this punching bag with no remorse for our hands. In the face of success and 7 bong rips, there was no pain to be felt. But Roman must have had some serious demons because he took it pretty far, but he's the unhinged one, so it's not unexpected of him. After we broke our actual hands, we walk back over to meet with the group downstairs. But it's important to note, as we walked back, I was walking behind Roman. We were met at a crossroad where going left would lead us downstairs, which was where everyone was, but going right would lead us to Adam's bedroom, where I could swear I heard some kind of noise from. But I had thought that everyone was still downstairs. Did they come up to Adam's room? Roman didn't hear this, so he kept walking without realizing I had stopped behind him. So I turned alone and walked towards Adam's bedroom, and as I walked in, I see the Croc Guy laying on the floor, but I didn't see anyone else. Yo, what's up? No response. I walk closer, and I see he's passed out in a weed coma of some sort. But as my eyes wander down, I see the Croc Guy is, exposed. I'm frozen for a moment before I slowly just walk out of the room to not make a noise. Bro, what was that? I knew we should have never hung out with the Croc dude. Oh my god, I need to tell everyone else about this right now. Once I got downstairs, I see Roderick freestyling and I freeze up again. Being as high as I was, I realized it would be pretty awkward to explain the situation to them. So alternatively, the plan was to naturally lead them into finding out themselves. But before I said anything, there was one absolutely fire bar Roderick said during his freestyle, which went along the lines of, "She didn't want to fuck me, but she should have." After that heat was spoken, I said, "Guys, let's all go upstairs." "Okay, but let's smoke more." So we do the bong rotation 3 more times before going upstairs, and I'm just hammered. I am smashed from these hits, dude. As we walk up and towards the room, Roman yells out, "Bro, we need to go to the pool. I want to see what the water looks like." So the great Croc Guy reveal was delayed while the 4 of us sit by Adam's pretty sweet indoor pool. But to be honest, because of all those extra bong rips, I kind of forgot at this point the trauma that I had seen earlier. Something had snapped inside of me just out of nowhere at this pool because I'd start talking to myself. "We're going to war, boys. This is gonna be the end." "What are you talking about, bro?" "We're in the cryopod, bro. We're freezing ourselves in the cryopod before we go to die at war on the fire planet." "You're on something else right now." "Yeah, I have no idea what he's talking about." "Tell me, should I die for my family or for my country?" "Definitely the country, bro." "Yeah, definitely. When I'm out there, I don't have a family." I just created an entire headcanon in my mind that we were these space soldiers. I don't know where it came from, but it was funny. "We should leave the pool. Roman, that was a shit idea." As everyone left, I kind of lagged behind for 30 seconds or so before I got up. And because of that, I exited out of the wrong door because I'm directionally impaired. I ended up on the other side of the house in the living room. There was jazz playing, the Christmas tree was set up, dim lighting. This was the absolute peak environment to be in. So I sat down for a minute alone to take in the environment when my peace was suddenly interrupted by screaming at the other end of the house. Then I finally remembered that atrocity in Adam's bedroom that I forgot about, but I didn't bother to go over there since the situation I was in was just too good. So I just laughed about it alone from a completely different end of the house while my 3 friends just went through torture. I couldn't be bothered when I was this high and cozy. Eventually, I just kind of fell asleep and the boys handled it. I don't know what exactly they did to the croc guy, but whatever happened was surely a solution. Smoking the grass is unironically my career at this point. So you'd think I could hold my own against a little something, right? But this New Year's, I had a man of very high stature and business class offer me some za from his world. And it was like nothing I had ever done up until that very moment. But like I said, it was New Year's. The whole gang was downtown following Roderick around like little baby ducks because he supposedly had a surprise for all of us. So once we all get to the square where the ball drop was going to happen, he leads us all into an office building and up this elevator. Are we even supposed to be here, dude? I don't care. I literally was not asking you. Bro, get me out, sus, get me out. Gentlemen, trust me, we're good. Now collect yourselves and become presentable. We get to the top floor and step into this massive office building overlooking downtown. To my side, there's a table covered with tons of different drinks. Yo, what is this place? It's my parents' office, lads. And then out of the corner of my eye, I see him. It's big man Roderick's very own father. But he explains to the group that throughout the night, all of his lawyer and business friends would be coming through, and that we were all welcome to as many drinks as we wanted. So the boys go feral. Let's go! Hey, give me that. Thank you. You want my vape, bro? All right. Oh, God. I miss her. I miss her, bro. You know, sharing always makes me feel better. Do not fret. Cameron was the sober man that would be taking us all home this night. We were all being very responsible. So we all start opening the office windows and yell nonsense at random pedestrians. Before we know it, the place starts to fill with lawyers. The group breaks up, and in the presence of all of these high-value individuals, I taught some guy's wife how to floss. 10 p.m. was closely approaching, which meant that the first ball drop was about to happen before the real one at midnight. We all link up, look out the window, and despite this not even being the real New Year's celebration, the streets are filled with swarms of people. As we all marvel at this horde, we see a familiar face standing outside. It was our boy Tony. We need to go out there. So we all run down the stairwell and out the back exit, but as we left the door, we ran past one of the big dog lawyers that I had recognized seeing upstairs, and he was smoking something. So I made a mental note before joining the crowd. We gave Tony monumental greetings until ball drop time was about to happen. We all run to the center of the crowd, bust down excellent style for a few minutes until returning back to the lawyer office, stench and sweat covered from all of that bussing. Back up the elevator, I lead the squad into a small conference room and explain to them, boys, I think there's weed on the premises. I want to get my hands on it before the real New Year's event happens. So we start scouting around the office looking for the guy I had seen earlier. We ended up finding him still at the same spot prior, and as we walked out, the legend offered us some. So we all, minus Cameron, smoked with this lawyer, and before it really hit us, it was quite chill. So once we had our fun, it was back up to the office to devour the sandwich rolls and prepare for battle at midnight. Roman and Roderick start devouring every last crumb like savage berserkers, but I'm feeling a little differently. Yo, guys, that lawyer stuff is really hitting diff right now. How do you feel? I'm gonna go to that conference room again. So I'm sitting in the conference room alone. On the floor, I find a bunch of strings and start assorting them from longest to shortest. These 2 women walk into the room like, what are you doing? I'm playing with strings to stay alive. And that's all I remember out of that interaction. There was this dude that also came in as well, and he talked to me for like 5 minutes, but I have no memory of a word he said. Eventually, Cameron and Adam came into the room. Bro, we lost Roman and Roderick. Lamau. Do you need to go home, dude? Yeah. Alright, bro, we'll try and call them. And about 18 phone calls were made to Roman's phone, and not one was answered. Cameron and Adam decided they'd face the New Year's storm out in the streets to look for the 2, while I stayed up in the office, so they moved out. It didn't take long for me to get bored of sitting in this this conference room, so I get up and leave to look out the window and watch the ball drop from there. As I'm staring out this window, I eventually do see Roman and Roderick out there going crazy in the square. I watch them for a few minutes until Roderick walks away to get drinks from a bar or something. So Roman's out there all alone. Then there's this big middle-aged dude pushing his way through the crowd of people for I don't know why. Roman was in big man's trajectory, so once he eventually shoves Roman shoves him back. And then this dude punches Roman so hard that he falls to the ground and the police detain the unhinged big man. After seeing that, I thought, well, I should let them know I found Roman. So I walk down calling Cameron, telling him to meet me at the office entrance. As the both of us link, it's about a minute until New Year's, and everyone around us is going bananas, so we just stay put not to lose each other. Once midnight struck and the ball dropped, I just stared up into the sky completely unmoving and honestly feeling nothing. That Za had me a stoic. So where's Roman? I lost him. Damn. Okay, well, I'm just gonna take you home, bro. You're clearly sloshed. I'll find them later. So my handsome little savior drives me back to my place. I get inside, and as I'm taking my stuff out of my pockets, I realized I still have Roderick's vape, but I didn't care and instantly passed out. And if you want to know what happened with Roman after this dude punched him and what went down once I left, you're gonna have to wait 3 months for when Roman makes his own video because I don't know what happened. Boo-hoo! Edibles are cheeky little buggers. You never know exactly what you'll get from them. Sometimes you'll eat one and feel nothing, sometimes you'll eat one and feel everything, and sometimes you'll eat one, think you feel nothing, so you eat another and another until all you feel is pain everywhere. The trick is simply getting them from trustworthy sources and being a little patient with the gummy. But somehow this seems too hard for most people, myself included. I was neither patient nor safe this fateful afternoon, which made for my most intense edible experience ever. Now, this was back in high school, so getting from a reliable source isn't as easy as it is now. Instead of getting the edibles from a dispensary, you have to get them from Howard, a grade above you, that claims he definitely is the Heisenberg of edibles and can cook up the best stuff. It doesn't help that I was surely at the peak of Mount Stupid on the Dunning-Kruger effect curve, where my confidence was at an all-time high with weed and my experience was very low. I was naive in the face of Howard's homemade edibles, so I bought a batch of them after school, took them home for the weekend, and prepared for an epic freaking time while I had the house to myself. You already know, before I ate these, I was showing them off to the boys. I was like, look at the fresh booty this young boy got his hands on. But I wasn't about wasting time. It was business time. It was time to eat the edibles. I started by just eating one of the 4 I had bought. And right from the moment it touched my tongue, I could taste just how weed infested these brownies were. But I got it down. Then with every passing second, I analyzed how I felt. And when you think about time that hard, it makes it feel like it passes way slower than it actually does. What feels like 30 minutes is actually 10, and what feels like a weak edible is actually a bombshell that hasn't gone off. So I thought, this one should have hit by now. I guess it's just weak. If this is how 1 feels, I can definitely take an extra 2. And we all know how this goes. As all of these edibles hit at once, my body is instantly, essentially paralyzed. I got the cotton mouth of a lifetime, which marked the only time in my life where I wanted water more than pussy, money, or weed. So I just lay here like, god damn, I didn't sign up for this. So I try and roll over to get my phone and text the boys group chat that I was on my deathbed. But my body couldn't roll over without me using 100% of my brain power to do so. As I picked up my phone, it felt insanely heavy. I had the 40-pound iPhone. The phone was just way too heavy for me to pick up, so I was left with one option. I couldn't text. I had to send a voice memo. Yo, guys, this shit is hitting for real. I think I need help. Send over the reinforcements to my place. I'm dying. Which was a pretty funny message to follow from the previous one. So once the message was out, so was I. My body shut down for I don't even know how long. But when I came back into consciousness, it was like I was viewing myself laying in the bed from a third person view. This didn't last long though, because I got back to my body pretty quickly. But for a moment there, when I saw myself, I thought that I had died and I was leaving my body. But somehow I rationalized myself out of it and thought, there's no way I'm dying. I'm just on a lot of drugs. People always think they're gonna die when they're like this. I don't know how I was able to rationalize myself out of thinking I was dying, considering how high I was, but I guess I'm just the GOAT. I can just do it. So I look over at my phone and I see that Roman is calling me. What's up, bro? Are you good, bro? Partially. Come over to my house though. So we came over with Cole and Adam, and as they rang the doorbell, I was faced with a real dilemma. Shit. How am I gonna let them into my house? So I tried to stand up, but instantly just fell on the ground. I had to crawl on the ground over to the stairs and I just fell down them. I was way too high. There was honestly no other way I could get down, but I was also so high I didn't feel pain from falling down the stairs, so it was all good. I unlocked the door still on the ground with my toes and then just kicked it as hard as I could to let them know they could come in. The three of them stood over my lifeless body and asked, "Bro, are you okay? How do you feel?" So I reached into my pocket and I pulled out the last brownie. Boys, eat this. You'll know a fraction of what I've been through if you eat this. But I need water first. So I get my water, and surprisingly, the three of them just split the brownie and ate it like that. I guess high school boys are just that desperate they go feral at the sight of any free weed. I wanted to be transported to the couch, so I got picked up from my limbs and brought over to the most comfy couch I've ever felt. We turned on the TV and the first channel that was on was Paw Patrol. It was incomprehensible to me. Then I got some of the most devilish munchies in my life. So I postmated Chipotle. But at this time, the three of these boys were also starting to feel the munchies. Despite eating that small portion of the brownies, it was hitting them enough. So Adam was like, "Bro, I'm so hungry." And my high ass replied, "Oh, me too, don't worry, I'm gonna get Postmates." And I ordered another Chipotle burrito for me and Adam, forgetting that I had ordered the Postmates prior. I guess the group of these three guys picked up on this, so they started to get me to order as much Postmates as they could. Once the burritos started coming in, I'm freaking out because I don't understand where all of these orders are coming from. I thought I had discovered a real life infinite food glitch because 4 different orders and 7 different burritos were delivered to my house. But alas, it was just my friends sucking me dry of every cent I have. So we got all of our burritos, brought them in a big pile, we held our hands around the burritos, and we prayed for this meal. We prayed to God and thanked him for this bountiful feast we had. And with that, there were 2 extreme lessons I learned this night. Don't buy edibles from Howard, and don't trust your friends. They will try and get as many burritos out of you as they can. You know the drill. I get dangerously high by myself, track everything I do on my notes app, and tell the story of the actual brain-rotting activities I get up to. But this time, there's a little twist. Before I got high, I texted my boys group chat to ruin me tonight. They could call me, text me, or just send whatever heinous dung they can at any time throughout the night that would mess with me or just make a funny moment. So here's what happened. After eating my special gummies, the first thing I wrote down in my notes was watermelon with no melon. I guess I found this video so impressive I just had to share it. Anyways, let me set a scene for you. As the gummies came into effect, the first thought I had to myself was, I want my big Oreos. So I walk myself downstairs into my dimly lit kitchen, fill my favorite coffee mug with warm milk, and start solemnly munching on these porcelain big Oreos, one intimate bite at a time. As it turns out, I only had 3 Oreos in my bag, which left me with a real problem. I got no more Oreos, but so much milk. Without thinking, I trotted up from my seat, walked over to my little tree, and poured my milk into the soil as if it was water. It took me a minute to mentally process that I had given a tree milk until it finally hit me. Wait, no. Trees can't have milk. That's my favorite tree. What have I done? In tears, I frantically search on Google, what happens if a tree drinks milk? After a long search, I learned that milk is actually good for plants. Not just milk is good, but spoiled milk is too. It's actually a good way of making bad milk useful, so that was kind of interesting. Now I'm sitting here thinking about milk. I can't fully explain the thought process behind this moment, but I brought my ass over to YouTube and searched top 10 milk. And just watch this. Why is it so loud? Why would this be the intro to top 10 milk? Anyways, the first milk was Safeway, which isn't even milk, it's a grocery store. But I used to work there, so I commented, so helpful, plus I love Safeway. This comment was a little premature though, because after giving such praise 10 seconds into the video, I decided to skip to the end to see what is the world's greatest milk. This was a terrible mistake that turned all my praise into pure unadulterated rage. They said the best milk is Borden. Are you joking? You have to be smoking crack to genuinely believe Borden is the best milk there is. So rationally, I replied to my original comment with a nasty and hateful reply. As I hit send on the comment, my messages start getting spammed with a constant influx of this deranged dog image coming in from 5 separate people. There had been an organized attack on my iPhone messages, and the dinging wouldn't stop until I got a phone call from someone with no caller ID. I pick up the phone. Hello? And this is exactly what I heard back. Is this Borden? Do I need to repent? Do I need to repent for the sins that I spoke on your milk, Borden? And before there was a reply, my phone crashed from the constant dog images that were still going through that whole time. Holy shit, I made a terrible mistake. But then, as if God's light came shining down at me in my darkest time, as I turned my phone back on, the image of the dog had changed. He was so happy now, grinning ear to ear. It was a beautiful sight. Seeing him smile back at me gave me such a sigh of relief. So I felt I'd treat myself to a little Chipotle queso. I ordered from Postmates and the driver's name was Quentin, and I promise you this is a detail that comes back. As I'm waiting for my Postmates, I go back on YouTube to see something that truly pissed me off. The video was called Strongest Energy Drinks Comparison, which I thought sounded pretty cool. I was interested in what the world's strongest energy drink was. I click on the video and every single energy drink has 320 milligrams of caffeine. Like, it does not stop. The drinks just keep going and they never change. I keep thinking to myself, oh, the next one's gotta be stronger. It's not gonna be 320 milligrams of caffeine, and it never is. I was blown away by the asinine shit this video was, so much so that I left a hate comment. And then I got a neighborhood watch alert from the Ring app that there was a shooting nearby. This was one of the best things that had happened to me this night because it gave me a great idea. If you didn't know, the Ring app has a feature where you can create a post that gets sent out to every single person that has the app in a multiple mile wide radius. I had never done this before, but just the thought to have that much power, sending a direct message to so many people at once, seemed a little too good to be true. But I wanted to figure out if I could do it, if it was possible. First, I would have to figure out what the post was going to be. I thought back to everything that had happened to me this night. That dog with the massive grin. The Postmates driver named Quentin. Everything came together as I uploaded the dog image and gave it the title Dog Acquired and made my masterpiece. Dog alert, we found Quentin. Thank you everyone that helped look for Quentin, but you can finally stop because the search is over. Here he is, happy as ever now that he's home and safe. He must have gone on quite the adventure. I thought this post seemed pretty believable, and so did the people working for Ring, since my post made it through the auto moderation and was sent out to the public. This was a massive success. Not gonna lie, I felt pretty awesome after pulling off the Quentin scheme, so I went upstairs and ate more of my gummies. This would ultimately feed into a dark cycle though, because once I started playing Fortnite, in between every game, I would forget forget that I had eaten a gummy and I would go for more. I don't know how many of these I ended up having, but I had enough that I tragically forgot the Chipotle queso waiting for me at the door that the real Quentin had delivered for me so graciously. I was just like Drake off these gummies because after I ate all of them, I was out like a light. I recently bought an Airbnb to stay in for 50 hours and get deviously high for the entire time period. Every 5 hours that passed, my beautiful friend Cameron would spin a giant wheel with various different challenges I would have to complete. By default, every 5 hours, I would also eat a 25 milligram edible, progressively getting higher and higher as the challenge went on. But if I failed the challenge, Cameron would force me to eat an additional 2 gummies, which, you know, would probably end up with me passed out if I failed too many. For the first 5-hour block, Cameron spun that massive wheel and got make a PowerPoint. So I eat my gummy and start thinking about what I'm going to make this PowerPoint about. I'm looking around this Airbnb room for inspiration, but there's not much to work with. But then I feast my eyes upon something great. It was one of those corny Christian house decor items, and I thought, yeah, I can work with this. I got to work tirelessly on this PowerPoint. Although those gummies started to hit halfway through, so it took me a bit longer than I anticipated, that was nothing the Lord's strength couldn't handle. After hours of endless work, I had a finished product to present to Cameron. Alright, Cameron, so this is why Jesus Christ should definitely smoke weed by Ninye. Let's be honest here, he's still a person at the end of the day, just like me and you. And I bet being the Holy Lord comes with a lot of stress and anxiety. I bet smoking weed would really help him out with that. Let's do a little activity. Let's count on our hands how many of our friends believe in the Lord's faith. Yeah, that's right, not a single one. The youth are quickly losing faith, but smoking weed will make Jesus way cooler and way more relatable to younger people. Here's just a quick before and after. Jesus before he smokes weed and Jesus after he smokes weed. As you can tell, there's a big upgrade here. Without weed, he is mid. Faith will be peak again. Thank you for listening. Cameron thought my presentation was very cool and impressive. So afterwards, I didn't have to eat any extra gummies and I was free until hour 10. Something I didn't foresee is that these activities would not take nearly as long as the 5-hour time slots between them allowed for. So I had a lot of free time. All that free time meant lots of hours on TikTok while high, which perfectly transitioned into the hour 10 challenge. I ate a gummy and Cameron spun the very giant and real wheel, and I got watch TikTok and make a top 5 list of the best ones you find. I had already been grinding TikTok for a few hours, so I knew I could make the most fire top 5 TikToks. I scrolled for a few more hours because I wanted a varied sample group of videos. After my many hours of hard labor were over, I meticulously handcrafted the perfect videos from my likes. First, I started off with a beautiful penthouse view of Cameron's favorite city in Chongqing, China, followed by this Roblox depiction of a child abduction, which I felt Cameron could relate to very well. I did a bit of a 1-2 combo here because the next video of Hasbullah is also something I imagine Cameron can relate to pretty closely. The next one was a pretty cool rock formation in Ireland, but it didn't actually matter at all because it was all set up for the grand finale TikTok of this epically laughing dog. Not gonna lie, I think that last one was the slam dunk that sealed the deal here because I had Cameron dead and I passed with flying colors. Hour 15 came, Cameron spun the wheel, and this time I had to make and drink a smoothie with all the delicious ingredients Cameron had so graciously bought me and put into the refrigerator. I had hella munchies at this point, so I was looking forward to this easy little break challenge I had gotten myself into. I opened the refrigerator and the only 2 things he had bought was cauliflower and a bottle of water. Bro, what is this? Why are these the only things? Oh, you know, it's just a little something, you know? I'm not gonna shred cauliflower and drink it with water, bro. Cameron was thinking 3 steps ahead of me because he knew I wouldn't eat this dung. He was doing a bit of what we call in the industry throwing for content. He felt I wasn't getting high enough, and if I were to fail this challenge and eat extra gummies, it would make things a little more interesting. I won't lie, it ended up working. During hour 15, I ate a total of 3 gummies because this little pitfall he had set for me. By the time hour 20 came, I was sloshed. This was the 1 hour that we didn't spin the wheel. The idea was that I had to build a pillow fort, which would really just be me making a bed to sleep in, since I was 20 hours into this challenge and I had to sleep. But before I did that, I had already passed out. So when I was awoken all groggy at hour 25, Cameron had the 4 gummies I had to eat at the ready. This was the point where it was all just pain. I had to eat 100 milligrams of edibles after waking up from my shite sleep that only lasted 5 hours. Already we had to spin the wheel again, and it was a game of hide and seek where I had to hide from Cameron for a successful 30 minutes. I won't lie though, I just went into the closet with as many blankets as I could find, covered myself, and passed out. I ended up sleeping the whole time again, and to be honest, I woke up sloshed again and royally fricked from the residual hour 25 gummy load. As I awoke, Cameron came to me with an extremely devious smile and said, "Hey man, you gotta go to the kitchen. I got you something special for hour 30. Come on, big guy." So I got up feeling like I had just gotten hit by a car and waddled into the kitchen to see a big GoPuff bag. The wheel landed on a free spot, dude, so I got a gift for you. Oh my god. After 30 long hours of suffering, I finally have something good happening to me. I'm so hungry. I don't even care what you picked me, dude. I'll eat anything. Thank you so much. I grabbed the bag in excitement, and as I opened it, the only thing it was a super suction blue 12-inch dildo. Wow, thanks, bro. Thanks for buying me this. I actually ended up finding a lot of utility out of Cameron's epic item he got me, because the suction on the bottom made for an awesome trick shot item. So I threw this thing around the house, bottle flipping it on just about every surface I could find, until I accidentally stuck it to the ceiling and it was too high for me to retrieve. The suction on this thing was supreme. It was really stuck up there. Hour 25 was actually my favorite moment. I was tasked with making a song. I didn't have any kind of experience with music production, but Cameron did. He gave me his laptop with FL Studio to make an epic song, but he didn't actually help me at all. This song ended up taking me hours of tireless work since I had no idea how to use the application, but I seriously think I found my calling here. Once I figured out the basics, I was like Kanye West in the studio. The music was flowing through my fingertips, and I made one of the most fire songs I had ever heard. But enough talking about it, I'll just play the song for you guys. For some reason, Cameron didn't like this song though, because his head is too far up his ass. So I ended up eating an extra 2 gummies, and it was off to hour 40. The wheel spun, and what was required was a battle of willpower, discipline, and heart. I had to step outside in merely my undies while it was blisteringly cold and blizzarding, and survive standing in the snow like a Joe Rogan ice bath for 5 minutes. If I were to fail this challenge, I'd have to eat a gummy for every remaining minute on the clock, so the stakes here were higher than ever. I took a moment to collect myself, as I knew this would take an incredible amount of focus. So I did that thing you do where you sit at your bedside in the morning and take in the fact that you have to live another day on this earth. Except instead of a bed, it was on a couch side, and I was preparing for war. As I initially went outside, the cold hit me hard. Instantly, I wanted to turn back. But I saw the sinister look Cameron had in his eyes. I saw how badly he wanted to feed me all those gummies, and I was determined to prove him wrong. Against all odds, I step into the snow and shock instantly spreads throughout my entire body. I'm shivering, my teeth are chattering, but more than anything, I was persevering. With every passing second, the cold became slowly more bearable, and I became slowly stronger. In the midst of this intense and cold winter, I found that there was within me an invincible summer. No matter how hard the world pushed me, there was something stronger, something better, pushing me right back. After the 5 minutes were up, I walked back into the warm indoors and felt an indescribable warmth return to my body. Unfortunately, this hour's triumph was also my last. After withstanding 40 hours high, 275 total milligrams of edibles in 5 minutes in the snow, it was just too much stress for my body. I passed passed out for good right at the home stretch and didn't get back up to finish all 50 hours. While I lost the challenge, the lifelong lessons I learned throughout the excruciating pain I endured these 2 days made up for it. Maybe another day I'll have to try this again and succeed. Sleepovers with the boys are sacred moments to see how many boundaries you can get away with pushing, even if it means overextending a bit. It's what makes it fun. This night, Roman, Cole, and I planned to push the 2 ironclad rules amongst the Roman household. Rule 1, no weed. His parents didn't even know he smoked at this time. And 2, no friends over on this particular weekend. We were to not only sneak the weed into his house, but also ourselves. Roman had just got a brand new PlayStation VR headset, and we wanted to experience the virtual reality while high, which posed for the riskiest activity of all. You see, this was his family PlayStation, meaning it was right in the middle of the living room, so we had to move at night when the family sleeps. Me and Cole stake outside for dusk to fall and Roman to give us the word. We had the weed in an airtight seal, a small pipe to smoke it, and some Febreze bottles to kill the smell. Eventually, we see the front door open. Roman gave us the signal and we slowly enter his house to not make a sound. We all make our way upstairs, walking past his parents' bedroom to get to our safe haven, Roman's bedroom. Objective 1 was complete. Now we had to complete objective 2, smoke the gas. So how are we gonna do this, man? I've got a spot. He opens his window and walks onto the roof. The 3 of us get to smoke under the stars as the calm before the storm. A moment of solitude before things take off. Once we're nice and high, we stumble back down to the window, probably almost die, and get back inside. The night was looking good. If we could complete our final objective to play VR, we could call this mission a success. We make our way downstairs and turn on the PlayStation, ready to experience this new world. We didn't want the smell of weed to linger on us, so we spray the Febreze bottle around the living room. But something all wise men know is not to give 3 high kids a bottle of Febreze. Since it's his house, naturally, Roman gets first dibs on VR. But as soon as he puts this headset on, we start spraying him all around with the Febreze and watch him helplessly squirm. Before we know it, we had sprayed the entire bottle of Febreze, and this room was so smelly, it was completely unlivable. And this headset had speakers built into it too, which is important because Roman didn't realize how loud he was being. He was screaming. We hear a door slam and footsteps coming downstairs. Cole and I had to think fast before whoever was coming downstairs came down and saw us. So me and him run into the closet. Roman has no idea we left him behind because he can't see and can hardly hear. So if we tried to communicate to him, we would have just blown our covers. His mom comes downstairs like, "What the fuck is all this noise? And what's this smell?" Roman takes off the headset to see us gone, and he knows he's fucked. We have to listen to Roman get yelled at from this closet, and the situation is just awkward. But we couldn't concern ourselves with that because we had larger issues. It was inevitable that Roman's mom would take him up to his room, and that's exactly where the weed was. We had to act fast and somehow get from the closet to Roman's bedroom to out of the house without being detected. Luckily, the Febreze came in clutch because it made his mom stand in the kitchen and not the living room. This allowed us to open the closet door and hug the corner up the stairs undetected. We run to his bedroom and get the weed, and we're like, what in God's name do we do now? We couldn't go out the front door. The only escape was through his window and onto the roof. Me and Cole sit out here just talking about how fucked Roman is. Alright, as long as his mom doesn't see us or the weed, we should be good. But what are we supposed to do? Just sit up here all night? Well, at least we have the weed on us. So the 2 of us, stuck between a mom and a hard place, resort to smoking more. I mean, what else are we gonna do? Some time passes and we see a head poke out the window. Yo, Roman, are you good? But this wasn't Roman. It was actually his dad. The 2 of us are paralyzed until he talks. Yo, what's up, guys? What are you doing up there? He sees our weed and puts 2 and 2 together. You know what? I used to smoke weed too all the time as a kid. I don't want to freak you guys out. So he uses his dad magic to get us through the house undetected, drives us home, and we get out safe while Roman takes the fall for us. The fabled Dream Blunt rotation is the highest echelon of ZA smoker achievement one can strive for. Not too long ago, there was a day when I almost had my Dream Blunt rotation become a reality. But because of one individual, that dream would quickly become the Nightmare Blunt rotation. Roman, Cameron, and Kev, we had just moved in with each other, and this was the housewarming party to celebrate the occasion. We had invited over a handful of people we knew, but also there were some unfamiliar faces in the mix as well. The party went smoothly, it was a good time, we had the gas, the drinks, the music, it was bussin' and goated. As the party ended and the people started to leave, there was one man named Ben who just sat there and did not leave our house. We all collectively did not know who this guy was. We don't know who he came with, we don't know how he ended up here, but he was sitting in our living room unmoving. We didn't want to tell him to get out of our house either because the four of us are all beta males, so we were like, he can stay here for a little while, I guess. But then this guy starts to turn on our PS4 without asking anyone and just creates an entirely new account for him on our system called Ben. I don't know if I would describe this as a power move, pure ignorance, or just being a weirdo, but I could not believe what I was witnessing, so I just decided I need to go outside and smoke weed. Same. Let's do it. That sounds like a good idea. So we got the after party blunt rotation outside with Ben, and we start passing this around. Once the blunt gets over to Ben, he commits a real atrocity, and not just double, but triple dips the blunt before passing it over to me. This is where Ben became a real enemy to me. But the rest of the roommates were still cutting him slack as just being some kid that probably wasn't self-aware. Boy, that was good. I'm gonna go step inside now. I want to kill him. Nah, man, you're just hungry. Let's DoorDash some food. So we ordered a load of Mr. Beast burgers for the meme. And as we walked inside, Ben had created an entire new Skyrim save and was watching that cutscene with the horse in the carriage. So, you're playing Skyrim? Yep. This was the end of the line for Ben. In this moment, we knew this guy was probably gonna be staying in our house for a lot longer than we wanted, and we were all done with him. Come with me, boys. Everyone follows me into my room, and I tell them, what the fuck is this guy doing? Bro, he's gotta go, bro. He's gonna be here for hours if we don't do anything. I'll fuck him up, bro. I'll punch his teeth out. Why would we do that before just telling him to leave the house, dude? He's so brain dead. Why would he even do this shit, bro? True. Okay, so what's the best way to get him out of here without being assholes? I don't want to just tell him straight up. What if we tell him the police are coming so he runs away? Why would the police be coming? That makes no sense. True. We could make him really uncomfortable so that he leaves. I like that idea. What if we make this worse for him than it is for us? That way, he'll just want to leave. Then Roman looks at his phone and notices through our scheming, the Beast Burgers had been delivered a few minutes ago. The four of us walk out to see Ben had already brought our Mr. Beast burgers inside. Not just that, but he had eaten a burger despite us not ordering him food. Not just that, but it was my Chandler burger he was eating. So we just shut the door and go back into my room. There's no time for Beast Burger. We need to get this guy gone now. So the four of us devise a devious scheme to remove Benjamin. This wasn't about us wanting to be polite and indirectly getting the message of,
excuse me, what the actual fuck are you doing in my house?
This was about how we can make this guy pay for the crimes that he has committed. So the four of us get our guns and load them up. We go over to the air conditioning and turn it to the coldest possible option. Once the house was freezing, we all point our guns at him and shoot him. They were water guns, by the way. And since the house was cold, the water was very chilly. Why are you doing this? You ate my Chandler burger, bro. You gotta go home. So Ben runs out of our house to never be seen again. But the creepy part is the next morning, we texted the people we knew at the party to find out who brought him. We wanted to know who knew Ben. The thing was, nobody knew who Ben was. I guess Ben was just a random dude who saw a party and decided to walk into it, eat a Chandler burger, and play Skyrim, which honestly, with that story, I kind of respect. Listen, smoking can be fun and all, but anyone who's done it consistently knows that it can get stale. If you think about it, it probably makes sense scientifically. After you feel the same stimulus, you'll eventually grow jaded to it. But people who don't smoke almost always take the high experience in entirely new ways. So I decided to get a group of friends together that have never smoked to test this hypothesis. I don't have a lot of friends though, so it was only 2 people, so please don't comment on that. But my lucky individuals were the legend Cameron and my friend Jaime. Jaime showed up to my house first, and completely unannounced to me, he came in full Joker face paint. When I saw this, I got the feeling that this night was gonna be really funny or really scary for Cameron. I didn't know how he'd take this once he saw it high. But eventually, young Cameron pulled up, and I gave the 2 of them edibles because they didn't want to hurt their little lungs. So while we're waiting for these to hit, I really start hyping the whole thing up to these guys. Alright guys, listen, this is gonna actually change your lives. This is gonna be the best experience that you've ever had. And Jaime was like,
I'm the Joker.
and not even 10 minutes after consumption, Cameron swore he could feel it already. That was cap though. It was all placebo at this point, but he believed it with his whole heart. It didn't help that Jaime started gaslighting him like, yeah, you definitely feel it, man. I think I'm actually starting to feel it too. Holy fuck, I'm so fucking high. So Cameron lays on the bed thinking that he's already high, while Jaime just starts getting into my PC. There was very little time before Jaime just opened Steam and bought Honey Pop with my credit card. Trust me, I didn't own this game beforehand. I got a little pissed because bro really thought he was the Joker and intruded into my things, but the game didn't cost that much, so I let it slide. The only thing I hoped for is that once this gummy hit Jaime, this game didn't make him go off and do something the real Joker would never even think of doing. After 30 minutes, these gummies actually started to hit Cameron, and he explained it was like it felt like he was driving a car. Bro is laying on his back with his arms up in the air like, oh my god guys, I'm going so fast, I can't slow down. And as soon as he stood up from the bed, Jaime charged him holding a yoga ball, screaming, holy fuck, there's a car coming, and launching Cameron back into the bed. Bro would not let Cameron get off the bed. Every time he tried to get up, he just got launched back to where he started. I was watching him get bullied before my very eyes, but I decided not to intervene. So after Cameron got launched a few more times, he started explaining how the impact of every crash was turning his insides into mush. He used the analogy that he felt like an orange that still had the peel intact, but the fruity inside part was smashed. This is when I decided to actually make an intervention, and I stole the yoga ball from Jaime. He was getting a little too in character with that Joker face paint. Jaime started throwing a little hissy fit and crying, so he walked away and started playing Honey Pop again. So I took the opportunity to really interview Cameron. So Big Dog, explain to me how you're feeling, Big Dog. And bro started smacking his lips together super loud. This was some audible lip smacking until he explained, my mouth tastes really good. Like, I feel like I don't have to eat anymore for the rest of my life because my mouth tastes so good. I'm like, damn, that's crazy, Big Dog. And upon further inspection, the reason that he felt this was because all the impact from that yoga ball made him bite his tongue and he was slightly bleeding. I didn't want to bring attention to all that, so my plan as the professional in this situation was to give him yummy food and hopefully he wouldn't notice the blood in his mouth. So I'm like, are any of my little boys hungry? And immediately those 2 go feral. Those first time munchies hit hard. So I pull up the classic McDonald's Postmates and Jaime takes my phone like,
Let me pick what I want. I'm the Joker, baby.
chicken nugget, I want chicken nugget. I'm on it. Let's get some of these chicken nuggets. So Jaime starts spamming the chicken nugget button and orders 50 chicken nuggets to my damn house. As an empathetic individual, I knew the long wait for the Postmates to arrive would be harrowing and brutal for these 2. I decided I needed a distraction so they wouldn't complain about it taking too long, mainly Jaime. So I pulled out the iPhone projector and started playing Five Nights at Freddy's Game Theory lore videos because I know Jaime loves those. After not even getting a few minutes into the video, I came to the realization this was actually a terrible mistake because it started to make Jaime genuinely tweet. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is the worst thing to ever happen to the series. What is Blood yapping talking about?
I don't know, man. I'm just really hungry.
It totally has all the pieces for a dream theory to be true, but no.
Is this like an issue? Like, should we stop him? I don't know if this is bad for
Why
his
is
health
the
or
Chica
something.
toy missing its beak?
I don't
What the fuck
know,
does any of that
man.
mean? And what the fuck is Juniors? Why don't people realize FNAF 3 takes place in 2015? 30 years refers to 30 years since the original murders in 1985. Not 30 years since the first game. That makes no sense. Luckily, the Postmates notification cut him off and it was chicken nugget time. Let's go. So we ran downstairs, got the food, ran upstairs, but as me and Cameron got to the bedroom, we decided we needed water with the nuggets so that we didn't choke to death. Before we went back downstairs though, I decided to snap a little picture of the scene in front of me. Because seeing Jaime in Joker face paint playing Honey Pop with 50 chicken McNuggets was something I didn't want to forget. But unknown to us, this would quickly become a top 10 moments caught before disaster image. So we go downstairs, fill up the water in the slow refrigerator faucet and head on up. And in that short amount of time, Jaime had eaten every single one of the 50 chicken nuggets. What the fuck happened to the nuggets, dude?
Oh my god, no. Why?
And he just stared and laughed. The worst part is he didn't even eat these nuggets because he was hungry. He ate them because he thought it would be funny if we came back and they were all gone. And considering that he ate 50 nuggets in the period of a few minutes, it didn't take long for Jaime to run to the bathroom throwing up. And honestly, he deserved it at this point. Bro has been acting a fool for hours. He deserves to feel some of the pain he inflicts on others for a change. Immediately after he finished at the toilet, he got right back to playing more Honey Pop as if nothing happened. He had a serious grind to commit to still. Cameron, on the other hand, wasn't feeling all that great after the nugget disaster. Bro was crying his eyes out and bleeding from the mouth like,
I'm so hungry, bro. Is there any more food left, bro?
yeah, dude, there is. I just need to go get it from the kitchen. So I gave Cameron the iPad with Coco Melon while I went to order more McDonald's. Cameron immediately became demobilized and fell into the Coco Melon trance. But unbeknownst to him, I was about to pull a little debauchery on him because I wasn't about to pay for another McDonald's order. I went downstairs into my kitchen trying to find some good mulch for the boys to eat. I came back with a big bag of Doritos and told the lads that I got the new McDonald's Doritos, my boys. They taste so good. They're way better than the standard ones. And that was enough for him to immediately forget about what Jaime did. I tried to go up to Jaime and ask, so bro, like, how does it feel for you right now? And the only response he would say is,
Fuck, man, I'm so fucking high, man. Holy fuck.
to then immediately lock back in and play more Honey Pop. I don't know why he was so locked into this game, dude. Like, he either truly wanted to play this goofy video game all night, or he was just so committed to playing a character that he wouldn't break it for a second. The only eventful moment beyond this was when Cameron dropped the iPad on his face. It seemed that at this point, the night had brought itself to a stalemate. Going back to my hypothesis, the gummies happened to turn Jaime into more of an evil person than he usually is, and it turned Cameron into a toddler. To be honest, I don't think they took it very differently as non-smokers, but also maybe I chose the worst sample group imaginable, I don't know. Once you enter the demon realm of young adult life, the dynamic of Halloween shifts from candy time to party time, but that is not a memo I accepted. I still wanted to go out and collect some candy booty. I didn't want any of that booty, you know what I mean? So during my freshman year of college as a dormitory resident, I had my eyes on a different prize than my colleagues. So I'm sitting in my dorm room alone on Halloween, dressed as Batman with a fire in me to make something funny happen. There's this girl that lives down the hall I kinda knew, so my plotting started with her. My awesome plan was to go to her dorm room door and trick or treat. I'd get a few laughs, maybe a piece of candy, and I'd call that a W. So I knock on the door like, I am Justice, trick or treat. Oh my god, you're so funny, I've got just a thing for you. She gives me a Skittles bag, like, don't eat too many. But I'm just popping off. I had been living impoverished off PB&J sandwiches the past month, so this was essentially gold. Before I leave, she adds, I'm having a little get together in a minute, so if you want to come over, you can. So I'm like, sure, I'll go over, knowing damn well I'm not going back to that place. I got my loot and that's all I wanted. I get back to my room and I'm snacking on these delights, probably watching Hunter x Hunter. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh damn, I'm really high right now. The fuck? On closer inspection, these were edible Skittles, but I mean, they hardly show it. I was like, why'd she give these to me. Honestly, I was fine with eating edibles since I didn't have anything better to do, but I just thought the situation was weird. So I go back to her room to see if she meant to give these to me, and as I knock on the door, she answers it like, "Oh my god, you came, come on in, come on in." I had forgotten she had a little get together I was invited to, and I didn't want to be rude and leave, so I went in, and when I saw this place, this was not how I imagined her little get together at all. It had to have been some kind of sorority party because there was like 10 girls essentially wearing lingerie, and then me dressed as Batman. They were drinking, playing games, and I'm completely out of my element and pretty high. I'm a married man. I can't be put in situations like this. So I'm like, yo, this party is epic. I'm gonna go get some water. I fill up my glass and just sit at the kitchen counter alone, trying to think of the quickest way to get out of here. I text the big man Adam to come to the door and get me out of here. I give him the room number and I say to just open the door and ask for Batman. But I didn't get a moment to see if he replied because this girl comes up to me and sits at the counter.
Hey, what are you doing over here?
And this is when I made a decision I look back on as highly questionable. I was new to college and I didn't want to taint my name so soon and be known as the Batman guy that sat alone at the party. So what I do is I go full Batman mode and protect my identity by speaking like Batman.
I'm just thinking about criminals, you know.
Haha, that's funny. You should come over and play games with us. It may have not been the best decision, but I ate a lot of those Skittles, and these people were drunk enough I could speak like Batman all I want without repercussions. This girl takes my arm, pulls me over to a beer pong setup, and hands me a ball. I didn't want to drink. I'm already zooted beyond belief, so I'm aiming between the cups so that the ball just hits the edge and bounces away. In this whole time, I'm just hoping that Adam got my text and would come through the door and save me. The more I miss, the more these people are chanting for me to get a ball in. Eventually, one of the balls land, I gotta drink it, and they're chanting for me to get more. So I do one more, and then they chant again for me to do one more. They just don't want me to stop drinking and getting these balls in the cups. I realized that this is just gonna keep happening forever, and I can't keep this up anymore. So I use the tried and true stalling method.
I need to go to the bathroom.
I check my phone to see if Adam's on the way, and I stand in this bathroom for like 5 minutes until I got out because I don't want to be in there for a suspiciously long time. I walk out and see the girl that invited me here. I walk up to her and I'm like, yo, did you know those Skittles were edibles?
Yeah, I know you like weed, so I thought you'd like that.
Huh. I guess that makes sense. Then all of a sudden, the door busts open. Adam is dressed as an Among Us and shouts, "I need Batman!" I'm like,
Duty calls.
and the two of us sprint out of the party and back to my room laughing the entire way. Bruce Wayne was safe and back in the Batcave and could watch anime all he wanted without the distraction of sorority girls. I repaid Adam by giving him the rest of my Skittles, and I pass out into a weed coma. Many moons ago, when I was merely a supple young weed smoker, I was ignorant of the powers Thanksgiving Day holds. When the abundant load of yummy food comes face to face with a growing boy cracked off 2 guaps in a blinker, things get ugly. The gravy, the mashed potatoes, the stuffing, good big Lord above. Do not get me started on them cobblers. Dear gods, I will bust. But along with the excellence of Thanksgiving feasts, the price you pay is the difficulty of communication. With likely most of your family around, the danger levels are high. One slip up and you'll get the belt in front of everyone and have to sleep outside in the doghouse while it rains. Luckily, during my first rodeo, I developed strategies and tactics and moves to avoid my high being detected. So here's the story of that. It was the big day and all my family were just about prepared to eat the yummy food. As a pubescent gamer boy, high schooler dork loser with nothing going for me, I wasn't downstairs with them. I was locked in my bedroom, grinding Destiny with the only distant family member that we all know. It was the cousin, the top G of Thanksgiving. He hits me with the classic, "Hey, let's go for a little walk before we eat." But my arrogant ass didn't know this code at the time, so I'm like,
No, I want to keep playing named Destiny.
So he shows me he's got that stizzy on him. Big cuz came to my crib with the strap and I go primal. Ooh, gimme. Bro, I need the weed so bad. I haven't smoked in 3 millennia. All right, let's go on that walk then. We go downstairs, walk past my entire family, and I'm thinking, oh, they have no clue what I'm gonna do. All right, guys, we're gonna go on a quick walk. Yeah, a real quick one. We head down a few blocks and cuz starts chafing the stizzy blinker after blinker like he weddy on the check. Like he's got 50 perks on the line and he's down a guap. No remorse for his soul and humanity. Bro smoked himself hollow like I've never seen before. After a display like that, I felt the need to do at least something that holds a candle to it. So I hit the stiz on God mode and I get sent out of my body. All that training had paid off because I sucked the souls out of this pen like a Division 1 football player. We have to get home since dinner was soon, but as we head back, I can't walk straight or keep my mouth shut. I'm laughing at literal nothing, staring down at asphalt and laughing. My cousin tries to bring me back into sanity by looking me in the eyes and saying, "You gotta get a grip, man. You can't be like this in front of everyone. It'll be way too obvious." Nah, you got it all wrong. I got this. Trust me. When we get in there, I won't slip up. As we walk through the front door, I get hit with the real-life mental version of the Vine boom sound effect. I was too high to think through the danger I had walked myself into, and I knew I could hardly speak. With no choice, I sit down at the dinner table and thought to myself, all right, I need to create a plan for when I'm asked a question. I can't take too long to respond or it's sus, but because the weed, I can't think fast enough to actually respond normally. So I need to use filler sounds and words to make up for my brain lag. I need to prove I'm sober by speaking well-articulated sentences no high person is expected to think. And to make sure they don't follow up, I'll start eating before they have a chance to. The food rolls out and we all start eating, and the antagonist of Thanksgiving shows himself, the uncle. He asks me, "So how's school?" And I initiate the plan. First, I start with the filler so I can think. Then I threw out my high IQ response. You know, school is lovely. I love school and learning. I've actually done all of my classes. With no hesitation, I start stuffing my face like I've never done before. I'm not even eating. I am inhaling the food. I need to use the bathroom. I hardly walk to the toilet and sit on it for like 10 minutes so this all blows over. As I come out, my cousin and I make eye contact. I could tell this was just as bad for him as it was for me. I'm just thinking about the Erwin speech from Attack on Titan to give me strength to get through this dinner. The food was positively bussin' though. The joys of eating all this food easily made up for the few times I was spoken to. The two of us eat a metric Drake ton of food this dinner, and I feel on the urge of death. Once it was all over, I ran back up to my bedroom to grind Destiny more. I felt like Luffy after a party, bro. It was on another level. Anyways, smoke weed on Thanksgiving. I've seen videos recently of people telling their experiences going to school high, so I thought I'd share my experience of sneaking into my high school while high. A complete Metal Gear Solid covert operation, breaking into my high school after hours. It was very illegal. And just a disclaimer to anyone watching this, don't follow in my footsteps. This was a bad decision. I could have been locked up for the atrocities I committed this night. And I can't go back, bro. This story starts on a summer afternoon of my senior year. I was at my boy's birthday party. We'll call this particular birthday boy Cameron. There was a handful of others there, but they weren't particularly important to the story, so we'll just call them anonymous individuals. The vibes were peak, and we were out grilling in the backyard, making some of the best food known to man. For Cameron's birthday, his parents got a hotel so that he could invite as many people over as he wanted, which, as you know, means the night came and so did that gas. And for Cameron's birthday, you know, we all had to turn up and smoke until we forgot who we were and why we were there. People were throwing up, and at one point, I swear this guy just started playing Valorant for no reason. Shit was just happening, and it was a good time. As it got pretty late into the night, people started to wind down, but I was still feeling a little nefarious, as I do. I asked around if anyone wanted to go for a walk, but everyone was pretty gone, so this walk of mine became a solo mission. Something about Cameron's house is that he lives about a block away from the school, and I hadn't been there all summer, so I thought it would be fun to walk around the school grounds. And I won't lie, even though the neighborhood is pretty safe and it was only a short walk, being all high and alone at night was starting to get me a little paranoid. It just felt a little too quiet for me, but I think that was really just the weed talking. Also, an important note to add is that my high school is kind of set up in a weird way. There's a main building to the place and a few separate buildings for the classes, and the rest is entirely outdoors. There's no hallways, which made sneaking around the cameras pretty easy because I could just come at the building from any angle. And since I had been going here for a few years, I knew where all the cameras were located at anyways. Despite having this knowledge, my high ass decided to walk straight through the front entrance where there is a camera directly pointed at me. I walked down the center of the courtyard of the school and just tried to open the front door. I could not have been less covert. It was like I did everything in my power to be seen. I don't know why opening the front door was the first thing I did either, because breaking into the school was not my original plan. I just started wanting to get into the building. Eventually, I went over to the side entrance of the building, and for whatever reason, it was unlocked. So I walked in, and it had a very similar feeling to walking into a Toys R Us as a kid. I knew I wasn't supposed to be here, and that made it so much more fun. As I walked in, I passed right by another camera, but I really just didn't give a fuck. I'm pretty sure that one is fake anyways, probably, and I made a beeline for the bathrooms. You know when you have to be in school at night for whatever reason and life just feels different in an indescribable way? It was very similar to that feeling as I stood in this bathroom. Leaving, I noticed this merch table, and I just snatched this black sweatshirt and proceeded to wear it for the rest of the night. I just stole from the school. I tried to get into some of the classrooms, but they were all locked except for the biology room, so I just went in there. It was pitch black, and I wasn't about to turn the lights on, so I had to walk around with my phone flash on, and this is when I started to hear police sirens. I went into panic mode. I looked out the window and I was making a plan to run instantly. The police had to drive past the school on the road and take 2 lefts to get into the parking lot. If I see that first left, I take the back exit and run into the forest, which should give me enough time to escape to the park and back home. I just gotta hope that they don't check the cameras and recognize my face, and then that was when I was like, oh shit. Even if I did run, I still have this sweater on. There's physical proof that somebody has been in here and they're gonna know it's missing, check the cameras and find me, and I can't go back to jail, bro. And then the police didn't take the turn and I was chilling, but I was still on my toes. I did a little peeking around and eventually struck gold. I found the crate that had all the Chromebooks and MacBooks, as well as another backpack filled with them. It took every fiber in my body to not steal this laptop, but I decided to put it back so that I didn't face jail time because I just can't go back, bro. There was probably like $500,000 of equipment that I could have just stolen in that room, which is crazy. And I wanted to take something, so I just snatched this little 3D printed astronaut, and I actually still have it with me now. I left the classroom and tried a few other buildings, but they were all locked, and I was getting a little sussed out at this point until one door opened, and that door was none other than the front office of this school. I could have gone onto the laptops and changed my grades. I could have set myself up for a future in there. They even had more MacBooks in that office too, but I left because I had been there for a while and I was just bugging out. So after a long journey, I headed home in my new sweatshirt and my little astronaut toy. I got to Cameron's house and just slept on the floor. In hindsight, I'm glad no one came with me because it probably would have made a lot more noise and for sure would have gotten us caught. And also the fact that they left so many doors unlocked is just insane to me. Criminals could have just been crawling through my school at night and I would have had no idea. They could be crawling through your school right now. Think about that. Anyways, I could have been arrested for trespassing that night, but instead I got a cool astronaut toy. I'm sure that you all, like me, love the great American outdoors. I can't get enough of the nice pine trees, the nice fresh air, and the lack of cops. But unfortunately, sometimes it be the common man who wishes to do you wrong, in addition to the government. And by the common man, I was done wrong upon on this very camping trip. Me, Adam, Roman, and Roderick wanted to do this big trip into the woods with weed and alcohol. So we planned to go camping at this place that's sort of far away from my house. Far enough away to act a pirate, to be alone and get fucked up at. So you have to drive out of town, up this mountain, and through plateaus and valleys and rivers to get there. But once you get to the top, it becomes a lot of campsites that overlook this really big canyon. We took Roderick's rinky-dink Toyota Matrix, and let me tell you, the gams on this baby, the gams, as in there were none. It took us like 2 hours to get to the top. This car was not built for 4 young, spry boys going uphill. Once we finally made it after sweating in this no AC heat box, there was this fucking tree blocking the road we wanted for the campsite. So we moved that shit, like bam, like out the motherfucking way, bitch. Blunts in mouth. So we get done being hot and we throw this tree, pull the car along the road, and make it to the campsite. It's all downhill to our left because the campsite washes out in the cliff drop. But we set up the tent and there's this beautifully constructed fire ring of high rocks that's right next to the edge. We set up the chairs and start working. Me and Roderick get the grate. Roman brought the skillet to rest on top. Adam starts rolling the yada yada, that sugar gabagool into the honey blunt, while my boy Roman gets the playlist bumping. We fry up eggs and bacon at like 9 at night and smother it in hot sauce and start drinking with dinner. We smash Coronas and we pass blunts for a little bit. Before long, the horror and reality of what we had just done began to set in. We had smothered a little too much and my stomach had really began to be a little fucking mad at me. One by one, we got hit by the shits in varying levels. Roman wound up throwing up because of his upset stomach. This unfortunately lasts a while, and I think the septic shock began to set in as we all felt absolutely feverish, from the shitting to the weed to the beers. Our grand night had hit a crash because I was just sacked out. But as I'm getting out of the tent at this time, I see what is clearly light coming from beyond the car. I'm at the tent, so I can't really see what it is from where I'm at. So I walk a little closer to see what it was. It's 5 flashlight beams walking in this cloud of light along the road. And if I wasn't gonna shit before, I was gonna shit myself now. No one in this group was saying anything. It was dead silent. They were coming along the road toward the campsite, and my heart is racing. But I try and be as quiet as I can as I get behind the tent. From behind the tent, I whispered that I saw people with flashlights coming. Roman sits up from the ground and reaches for the car keys, and now we're all sitting up to notice the light all coming closer. The lights reach the car and pause at it. We can see the outlines of like 3 guys peering into the car, but Roman presses the panic button. Immediately, the place just explodes with sound, and in a flash second, those 3 dudes were sprinting away from the car and not coming back. If we had not already been traumatized, we had been by now by the actual fucking trauma. We got all our shit out of the car and packed it into the tent and stay awoke all night until dawn. I guess in hindsight, it would have been smarter to leave and drive away, but we're badass motherfuckers. We wished they'd come back. We were ready to fuck them up. Eventually, I'm not gonna lie, we passed out waiting. But around sunrise, I woke up and poked my little head out the tent and I got out and walked towards the fire pit. I slumped in one of the chairs and watched the valley open open as the sun floated over the canyon, and then I passed out again. I woke up like 3 hours later. We all got our stuff and got the fuck out of there. But what we noticed as we were getting into the car to leave is that there was a scratch. These dudes had, I guess, I don't know, keyed the car or something, or maybe it was a knife and they were gonna kill us all. Being high and alone is something I like, but you know it isn't? Addiction. And if you're watching this video, there's a 99% probability that we share the same addiction, and that's short form content. I go on these jaunts just about every non-consciously waking moment of my life. So this particular night of me being high and alone served to free me of this terrible addiction, because every time I opened short form content throughout the night, I made myself eat an extra edible in an act of hopefully stopping my addiction. But it only kinda worked. Here's what happened. Right off rip, after eating this gummy, I cleaned my entire house. I was an unstoppable force of cleanliness off these gummies. But afterward, I quickly went back to my addiction. Not YouTube Shorts, I mean gambling.
This is gonna be huge. I'm gonna open a freaking case, dude. Holy crap. Oh, alright.
But I felt that if I was to truly free myself of addiction, I probably shouldn't make exceptions. So I ate another gummy after this as well. Then I instantly opened Snapchat and went onto the shorts because I'm not very smart, which meant another one down the hatch. I had already eaten 3 gummies, so I knew I needed a foolproof strategy that would ensure I wouldn't watch any more shorts. I decided to attack the problem at its roots, which is my attention span. I needed a way to fully reset my mind, and my idea to do so was a kind of strange approach in hindsight. The plan was to sit down in an empty room and just exist with myself and my drywall. I sat there and stared at drywall with as much mental focus as I could possibly exert for as long as I could. I would start to feel my focus wavering periodically. The only thing this ended up actually accomplishing, though, was giving myself a headache, which is ironically exactly what YouTube Shorts do as well. Alright, so the drywall strat, it's not working. Maybe I just watch full-length YouTube videos instead. Maybe that will fix me. This was a worse idea than the drywall. The YouTube app did that thing where it opens into shorts, so I start watching a handful of these before realizing what I've done. I ate another edible, but to be honest, YouTube Shorts had admittedly fed me some interesting slop this time around. I was watching a big, strong, shirtless, hot man climb a boulder, which got me in a real mood to watch more men climbing rocks. I was relentless with the men rock climbing videos. I watched Olympic climbing. I watched little men climbing. I watched big men climbing. All this climbing made me want to climb myself. So I bought a membership at a climbing gym. I haven't used it yet, but eventually whenever I do, I bet it'll be pretty cool. In an attempt to feel the triumphant victory of climbing rocks, I ended up climbing onto my bed from the floor, which isn't as impressive, but I thought it was pretty cool. Then out of left field, YouTube recommendation threw a real curveball at me. Teen Titans Go movie magic. This video hit the spot like nothing before. This show is just so goated. I was watching it so involved and entranced by the funniness and bright colors. Although I was really lost in the plot here. I didn't realize this while I was high, but this is actually like 5 videos strung together into one. Somehow I still managed to follow some kind of plot despite there not being one, which is something quite impressive. But this whole time, I couldn't stop thinking about how funny Robin was. This dude has to be the best written character of the millennium. I really came to realize the delicate intricacies of his character here. The only downside of this show is that it's bright and fast and really cool. Just like everything else, it was bad for my attention span. I needed to find some other method to fix myself. I search on Google how to slow attention span and find this article. After reading it, at the end, they recommend behavior therapy, which I don't need. So the article was shit and it didn't help me at all. Considering that the other things in this article were chewing gum and drinking water, I came to realize after reading this that I'm actually doing everything perfectly and optimally for fixing my attention span, if that's really all it takes. I guess I'm just left to live in torment and evil constantly. Afterward, I went down a massive YouTube rabbit hole, so I'll just give you some of the good ones before I went bye-bye sleep time for the night. And trust me, the last one will change something in you. So I watched how to turn a Lego man into meth. Then I watched pirate videos about how to be pirates. Those ones were pretty sweet. I learned how to become the Pope. I watched this video and legitimately did not listen to one word for the entire 30 minutes. I watched for an hour about the Napoleonic Wars. I've never given a squat about history at all in my life, so I don't know why I watched this, but it was interesting. I found out how to board an airplane. Then I watched a ton of these kid gaming videos and they went so hard. But the biggest video I watched was this one. This video is something special. Encounters with the police are always anxiety inducing, even if you're innocent. You never know if you're gonna get shot in the head on site with their guns because they're feeling a little bloodthirsty and want to kill that day. If you've ever had an encounter with the police when you've got something to hide though, when you got dirty hands and you see those lights, you go into fight or flight. It could very well be the end. Now, I had a little cop altercation recently and it had me shitting myself backwards. So I thought I'd tell the story today because it was very goddamn scary. So I'm chilling with my man Roderick and we gotta head over to my boy, we'll call him Adam. We had to go over to Adam's house because I had left a little jar of mushrooms over there the other night. I had to go over there to pick them up because he was gonna go out of town the next day. So we drove over to his place and we ended up going for a little walk while we were over there. I won't lie though, during this walk through the late night suburbs, we were partaking in some gas, some weed, some za, some goody. You know, we went around for a bit, it was fun, but by the time we got back to his house, we wanted a little more walking. We were fiending for the walk. We decided we would drive over to the college campus and peruse around that place for a little bit. Now, I wouldn't trust myself to drive a car while high. I know people are about to say that's irresponsible, but this is Roderick driving the car we're talking about. He's high just about every waking moment of his existence. He's good. If he couldn't drive a little high, he wouldn't be able to function as a modern human. And the streets are empty past 9 p.m. where I live, so you'd be hard-pressed to even find another human person. So I got my little mushrooms and I was going to put them in the glove box, but my dumbass couldn't figure out how to open it, so I decided to put it in the tunnel console. This seems like a pointless detail, but trust me, it's important. As we were driving to campus, we saw some dude getting pulled over, and then we saw another dude getting pulled over, and then we saw the police lights light up right behind us. Adam was lighting up a joint at the time, and we were also all high, so our hearts sank. But it turns out he was only pulling over the car behind us. We had seen 3 people getting pulled over in the span of like a 10-minute car drive. It was crazy. I guess they just needed to hit that quota, so they were pulling over anyone on the road. We went on our little walk, and as we were walking through the campus, we saw another person being pulled over. This was just absurd. I can guarantee these people probably did not deserve to be pulled over. There isn't that much illegal activity that happens here. As we finished the walk, we started heading to my place since I lived the closest to campus. But as we were driving through the last light to my place, not even a minute away from the destination, Roderick drives through a yellow and the goddamn police come after us. For driving through the yellow light, it was the most clearly yellow light, bro. So we pull over and we're like, holy shit, we're fucked. We're all high and we just got pulled over. And in this moment, I remembered that we have mushrooms in the car. We are in possession of illegal drugs. And they're sitting right in the tunnel console that's broken anyways and doesn't have a top to it. So if the cop walked over, he'd just see it sitting there in the middle. So as the cop is walking over to the car, the best thing I can think of is to take the mushrooms and throw them under my seat. Imagine if I had put them in the glove compartment like I originally was going to do. He would have asked for the registration and the drugs would have just been right there. Luckily, I was a stupid, silly little guy this night, and I couldn't figure out how to open it. He comes up to my window, even though I'm the passenger, and he shines this flashlight right in my face, and he's like, "You ran a red, man." He asked the usual questions like, are you under the influence and do you have weapons? Roderick says no to both of these, even though he's high and has knives in his car. I don't even know why he lied about the weapons, dude. He just did. So he goes back to his car for like 20 minutes while he checks the registration, and the 3 of us are just sitting in silence the whole time. The air was thick. It was a loud silence. He comes back to the car and just lets us go. So we head out scared shitless. I get home and I just go to bed immediately and hit the in my bed. I don't know why the cops were so active this night, but I guess it was cool that we didn't get a ticket or caught with drugs. If you take anything from this story, I would take that you shouldn't drive through yellow lights around cops because they will use your life for a quick bag. Are you ever sitting in class thinking to yourself, damn, I'd rather do anything? Half the time, it's not even the class itself that's uninteresting. The teacher's just an old fart person. When he opens his mouth, cobwebs and flies come out. One Tapatio sauce drop and you'll have a new teacher and a criminal charge. I've had these teachers and that's why I smoke gay-ass weed in their classes. Why did I write that in the script? So last semester, this class was Philosophy 101. I'm not gonna lie, I had a bussin' grade in this class, but I really didn't care about it. It was a waste of time, to be honest. This guy would just talk about some dead dude's idea for an hour and 15 minutes. I mean, I can think of most of these things on my own as an intellectual. Now, there was one day I was not having it. I snapped. I went bananas. I could not sit through another lecture talking about Socrates and his bullshit. I couldn't miss though because I needed a good grade. So I did what had to be done. I pulled out some of that good stuff. You know what I mean? That magic. In all honesty, I did way more than I should have. Every time I thought about how awful this class was going to be, I felt I wasn't high enough. So I get to the point where I'm baked like a fresh tray of cookies coming out of the oven. It was about a 5-minute walk to class from my dorm, so I started heading over, and as I'm walking, I'm realizing how high I really am. I keep staring at the floor and thinking, I'm grateful this floor is here to support me right now. Once I get in class, I sit in the back. It's a pretty big lecture hall, so I knew I could blend in easily. So once I sit down, the lecture starts and the professor pulls up his presentation. I am immersed in the way the slides look. I don't know why, but I just feel excited. I feel like this was going to be the time of my life. The professor starts talking about Descartes and says he was known for the whole phrase, I think, therefore I am. Now, the professor kept on talking, but I just kept on this phrase in my mind. I start feeling my own thoughts and asking myself, am I my thoughts or am I my body? I start asking if my thoughts are even my own or if they're someone else's. This idea feels brilliant to me. I feel like I need to express it. I raise my hand in the middle of the lecture. The professor looks directly at me and calls on me. And I think to myself, fuck, what did I just do? But there's nothing left to do but carry out my plan. So I ask, how do we know if our thoughts are really us? Then the professor just stares at me in silence for what feels like 30 seconds. I feel like it's the most obvious thing in the world that I am high right now, and this teacher is looking right at me. I feel like it's already too late. He already knows. Then someone saves me. Someone else raises their hand and the professor's attention was diverted. This guy is a hero. He's my hero. He starts taking my idea seriously and trying to debate the professor on it. Before I know it, the whole class is getting involved in this discussion, and I'm just so high I barely understand what I've started. Eventually, the hour's over and the lecture ends. But as it ends, the professor asks me to talk to him after class. Now I really know it's over for me. I walk down to the front while everyone else is leaving. I feel like a warrior marching to his grave. When I get to the front, the professor asks me, will you remind me of your name? Now, I'm not gonna go down without a fight. If he doesn't even know my name, he can't report me. So I use the alias of the guy who was sitting next to me to take this fall. My name is Kyle. Well, Kyle, I would like to talk to you about your question today in class. Thank you for being so engaging and starting a stimulating discussion. So I'm gonna give you 3 extra credit points in this class. I just thanked him and headed out after giving this stranger my rightfully deserved extra credit points. After that, I actually just kept going to class high because anything I thought of or said while high would make people think I was really wise and intelligent, apparently. I think it really just goes to show how philosophy philosophy classes really are. If you've ever smoked, gotten high, and then realized, wait, what am I doing with myself? You know how it feels. Being high without purpose leads to intense and heavy despair. It's a hollowness only comparable to living in Tucson, Arizona. So to help you avoid hitting that existential dread, because after all, I am one of your best friends and I look after you, I've cooked up 50 very awesome thingies you can do while high. And there's a lot of obvious things you can do, so I'm gonna rapid fire a few, such as eating delicious food, drinking water, operating vehicles on busy streets, killing, listening to music, playing video games, going to school, drawing, playing with animals, causing problems, gambling your entire bank account on Tesla shorts and losing it all in an instant, so you have to leave your anatomy class early to cope with the loss. Watching YouTube. My personal favorite thing to do while high is brain rotting myself with meaningless media consumption. And YouTube is the best place to do that. There was a day recently where I was with my boy higher than you can imagine while surfing YouTube. After sifting through a few videos, we suddenly feasted our hungry little peepers upon the most absurd YouTube brain rot we had ever seen. Losing 200,000 calories in 50 hours. This video is brain rot levels I could only dream my channel could ever achieve. Going for a walk. Going on Discord and raiding one of those servers with tons of open chats.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Hey, are you doing e-sex? Are you doing e-sex, bro? You little e-sex haver? What would your father say? What would the big guy say if he saw you having a little e-sex? Come on, man. Going through your entire phone contacts and calling everyone. Riding a hoverboard. Riding a bike. Learning the gritty. Kissing your friends right now. Going to the gym. Do the sus machine. Work the hip abductors, bro. Put the shame aside and do it. It feels good. Go to the cemetery. Stare at the wall and try and figure out what color it is. Just spin as fast as you possibly can in a circle. Swim in a pool, sink to the bottom, and feel your weightless body drift around. Postmates a medium Coke from McDonald's, and make sure you choose the freestyle orange flavor. Trust me, the taste is so worth it. For the small price you have to pay, it's so worth it. Do more drugs. Make sure you come out of this different. Watch videos of kids crying on Call of Duty. Study the Quran. Play Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga for Nintendo DS. It's a personal favorite of mine. Run to the top of a parking garage. Pretend to be an NPC. Lord knows that wouldn't be hard for you. Stack every single item in your home into one big pile. Play the knife game. Listen to this song and think about your failures. Go to the gym again. Only the top 1% of men can do this. Hold a conversation with your mother. Think about how time seems to pass faster than you can realize it. And before you know, everything you cherish will be gone. Tweet at me here on Twitter. Only the top 1% of men can do this. Listen to cool sound effects. Watch the entirety of the 1-hour Wise Tree video. Learn to backflip. Shut off your residential electric grid. Run outside of your home and don't stop until you collapse. Punch a hole in your drywall. Shave your head. Invite over my friend Adam for Molly. You can reach him at the comments because he's always reading them. Start your next anabolic cycle. Remember the good times and miss her. Now for the big 5-0, the big 50, here we are. I want you to unleash the monster in your soul and go to the fucking gym. If none of these activities have tickled your fancy, I guess you just gotta be depressed and like sad, man. I'm sorry, I can only look out for you so much. That's unfortunate, but like, you know, yeah. Every single day of my miserable life, I smoke a very unhealthy amount. And when I inevitably whisk myself away into my sweet little dreams, they always turn out to be actual fever dreams. It'll either be the most delightful, confusing, or downright heinous activities my mind conjures up deep into the night. The complete relaxation and peace of mind being high gives me while falling asleep is worth the gamble I always inevitably take in my dreams. So I've recently journaled some of my more out-of-pocket dreams I've had while high, so I can expose my evil subconscious to the public. I'm not afraid to say it. I love monkeys. They're too funny and silly without a care in the world. All they do is swing from Vine, chill, and be awesome. So I end up watching a lot of monkey videos in my free time, especially when I'm off a few gummies. You could best believe that afterward, when I fall asleep, a few cheeky chimps sneak through into my dreams. Now, this particular dream was built different because it starts off in the center of the monkey town square of the monkey village. This place had chimps and baboons walking all about in a civilized manner, and somehow I had this ability to telekinetically communicate with any monkey I wanted to. They would come up to me like, and I'd look into their soft eyes and respond. Yeah, man, I totally get you. That's too true. So I'm doing my monkey business, shopping in the local banana store, when the great sage monkey and mayor of Monkey Society approaches me. Nah, man, you got it all wrong. I'm a monkey just like you. I was just in an accident. So I started climbing this massive tree for the coconut, but it was too hard for my human body. So I eventually fell and landed into mud, where ants instantly ate my body alive. I felt every horrific bite as they tore the flesh straight off the muscle and bone and tendons. Unlike the real world, I wasn't devoured though. I was simply just decreased in size. As a tiny person, the great monk mayor officer supreme presidential monkey came to my side and said to me, I had never felt such disappointment in a chimp's eyes. Then I was quickly thrown into a trash can. It was an abrupt ending, but I mean, these are just dreams. I can't help what happens. Now that was a little dark, so let's lighten the mood. So I keep having dreams about prison. Whenever I go to bed, I more often than not dream I'm in a jail cell locked behind iron bars. This particular high-induced prison dream was a little different than the other ones I've had because it was also completely lucid. I had full control over my thoughts and actions, and for some reason I was in an all-female prison despite being a large smelly man. I vividly remember the first thought I had to myself being, I gotta rizz up these prison ladies, sheesh. Then grabbing the bars containing me with my huge arms and ripping them out of the walls one by one. Despite being aware it was a dream, I lost all control. As soon as I stepped out and all these fine dames laid eyes on me, I knew what was about to happen. One by one, each of these women slowly approached me, and right before it was about to get epic, I woke up into a sleep paralysis episode. I was laying in my infested bed as I remember it, but I couldn't move my bones or muscles. Then shadow people started to move out of the closet and slowly approach me. It was just like my dream prior, except that instead of hot babes, it was horrific eldritch underworld demons that probably wanted to kill me. They stood over my lifeless husk of a body, and as I looked them in the eyes, they just looked back. I was so scared I would have shit myself if I had bodily autonomy and wasn't paralyzed. Once I got my bodily control back though, the demons disappeared and I made a sound that sounded something like this. I just wish I got to stay in the prior dream just a little longer, man. There was another day where I was watching the Industry Baby music video non-stop just because I thought it was cool and the song is amazing. As I went to sleep, I had a really cool dream that involved a new strain of herpes that widely spread throughout the United States. It was very infectious and extremely life-threatening. So much so that it got to my entire family and I watched everyone I know and love slowly die in front of my eyes. I was not immune either because the strain eventually got to me and I had to see all my awesome and vascular muscles slowly drain away until I was but skin and bone disintegrating into nothingness. All that was left was to be welcomed into the afterlife's cold embrace. It was probably the coolest dream I've ever had. But throughout all these high dreams, my real high dream is to one day eventually smoke weed with Pokimane. I think that would make for a banger video, am I right? Anyways, I was just like Drake these nights because I would get so high, I would be out like a light. This is the craziest high story ever told in the history of all stick men on YouTube. So I was sitting in my living room and I was on my couch and I was smoking up a freaking bowl, dude, in a joint, and I was eating edibles and I was going crazy off the walls. I was higher than anyone had ever been in their whole life. I think I smoked a whole pound of weed, actually make it 2 pounds. I had 100 edibles and I smoked 4 joints. So I was in my living room, higher than a freaking kite, dude, higher than Tilted Towers. And I was having like dark thoughts to myself. This weed was speaking to me in an evil way. The thoughts I was having to myself, and let me repeat that one more time. The thoughts I was having to myself were evil. I was having evil thoughts. So pretty much, I was wanting to go on a run. And I was like, I shouldn't be going on a run after I consume these substances. Like, what if I do something while I'm out that is embarrassing and people perceive me doing something embarrassing? But I said, whatever, I'm gonna do it. So I left my house, but then this walk quickly turned into a jog. The jog quickly turned into a run. And before I knew it, I was sprinting full force to a gas station. I run right up to the gas station, and who else is getting gas, filling up their car, than a police officer? I look him in the eyes and I go, I'm freaking high as balls, dude. Are you gonna arrest me, you cop? I'm so high. And then he saw me. And he was like, I'm not gonna arrest you, but I'm gonna beat the fuck out of you. So he snapped the femurs in my leg. Both of my femurs, he snapped them. So I'm immobilized. I can't move. I have 2 broken legs and I'm really high, dude. So I'm like, okay, so this just happened to me. This isn't good. I'm all the way at this gas station, miles away from home, miles away from civilization. I'm in the desert. There's scorpions, snakes, and the sun is blistering down. I didn't even wear sunscreen and the sun is blistering down on me. I'm probably gonna get cancer from the sun. So I gotta get moving, but not before I fueled up. So like I crawl myself into the gas station with my hands because I can't use my legs, and I crawl myself up to the counter at the cash register, and I talk to the employee and I go, do you guys have any Prime Energy? I like the green one. I want green Prime, thank you. And so I bought it and I drank Prime Energy, and it gave me so much energy and it tasted so good and it was so green. I almost felt numb. I almost felt numb to the pain of my legs. It could have been the weed too that made me numb to the pain, but I was numb to it all. So I walk out of the gas station with like my broken legs and I'm just bewildered. Like, why would this police officer do this to me? I walk over to him and I'm like, hey dude, you filling up your gas? Do you remember me? I'm gonna do something bad to you. And I start spraying him with the gas. I take it out of his car and start spraying him with it. Then I set him on fire and the whole place blows up. It freaking blows up. I walk away from it. I don't even look at it because I'm that cool. I run all the way home, and by the time I get home, the prime wears off. I'm not primed up no more. I get back home and I'm like, shit, I'm so high and I got hella munchies and I can't walk. I have to get Postmates. I order some Taco Bell and I get a Crunchwrap Supreme. I get a Baja Blast Freeze. And I get nacho fries because nacho fries are actually in right now. They don't usually have nacho fries because it's like a seasonal thing, so you can't always get nacho fries, but they're in right now. So I ordered nacho fries. I really like those. And it got to my house in 2 minutes. And I was like, wow, that was the fastest Postmates ever. I'm going to give a huge tip. So I went to tip him and I gave him a 5% tip, which is a lot more generous than I usually do. And I gobble this up. Like I'm gobbling like a turkey, all this food. It's crazy. I've never eaten this much food. It was like the Great Supper, except it was only me. You know what they say about Taco Bell. You know what they say about Taco Bell. So I'm fighting for my life in the bathroom, and then I realized that, like, what am I fighting for? What am I fighting for right now? Is this life really worth fighting for on the toilet? And then I collapsed and died over the toilet while shitting. And that is the greatest story that any stickman has ever told. Thank you. Some experiences in life are just universally accepted as certified bad time. Like those car crashes on Instagram Reels, talking to a baddie just for your brain to immediately attempt a system reboot, and Chun-Li not being in the Fortnite item shop for 564 days. And the situation of having a scary high is no exception. I can't even play Five Nights at Freddy's past night 2, so it's especially bad for me. Once I start seeing the shadow people, I accept that my time has come. With that being said, the night of my scariest high experience naturally had its share of wallahi I'm finished moments. But I should have known something bad was gonna happen to me, because the night starts posted up watching those creepy real-life goblin sighting videos. We had the all-star lineup here, me, Roman, and Jaime, enduring footage of these violent creatures. It was so bone-chilling, we all essentially pissed our pants out of fear that goblins could be real. But why were we doing this to ourselves? Because we were actually buying time for BAM! That's right, Roderick's in this story too. We got big Big Roderick in the story, baby. He bursts in spouting his famous catchphrase, "Any room for me?" And you already know he came strapped with those gummies as per usual Roderick activity. Without a damn nanosecond of thought, me and Roman start clawing at Roderick's legs like, "Please give us gummy, we want gummy." Once we get our special treats, we start nibbling them down. But Jaime doesn't eat one because when he gets high, he either wants to hurt us or go to bed. All this scary activity had our group in a mood for a creepy experience of sorts. So Roderick immediately strikes us with an illegal opportunity. "You boys want scary?" "Yes! We want it!" "Alright, then let's go trespassing." You know me, I couldn't give up a trespassing opportunity if I tried. We all equip our hardest black fits and frolic out the front door, hyped for an adventure. Thugging the streets to this spot had us pondering how we wouldn't get caught, so here's the plan. Me, Roman, and Roderick all enter and play around while Jaime, as the sober one, plays lookout in the bushes in case any entities appear. As we pull up, the travel time had allowed those gummies to make us start feeling real giddy and joyous. The spot Roderick brought us to was an apartment under construction. It had 3 floors and a gate around the entire perimeter except for the very front. So we walk into this place and the vibe here feels haunted. We all had the iPhone flashlights on except for Roman because he had the Motorola flashlight, and there was only a few feet of visibility before darkness enveloped the entire group. We pretty much had the Slenderman visibility. We start exploring around and see some creepy stuff like unfinished bathroom. But all of a sudden, an urge starts to come over me and Roman. Those gummies had a slow creep and decided not to peek until we were a story deep in this dark construction site. This was an overwhelming feeling to the point where we were positively tweaking. Turns out we thought we had eaten a 20 milligram or so gummy, but Roderick's were actually 200. Our dumbasses just read the packaging wrong. But in the context of the story, we never figured this information out. We just chopped it up to the fear and adrenaline. But you could say we didn't take our time with the gummies. I bet it would have helped to have this hoodie on us, yeah? That's right, I finally made my clothing brand Take Your Time. So if you're ever smoking awesome weed with your friends and don't want them to green out, you can just wear this hoodie, turn around like the V-Lone meme, and remind them to take their time. This isn't some Redbubble Teespring bullshit either. We got high quality garments with beautiful puff print and embroidered designs. I've been working on this for a few months, but the Ninja store is finally live and I am genuinely very happy with how it turned out. Anyways, once we finally journeyed to the top floor, all that fear immediately vanished when we got an incredible view of the complete black void. But once we had journeyed through the entire building, the mystique of the place kind of fell off. It turns out that walking through an empty building wasn't actually all that. Roderick started to get really bored, so his fat ass started jumping around, making as much noise as possible. That shit was making creaking noises, so me and Roman were like, "Stop jumping, stop jumping!" Stop. Because we were already tweaking enough. But then we hear what sounds like footsteps, and we all immediately stop in dead silence. We can make out the sound and figure of something approaching us, but we don't know what. It could be a construction worker, police, FBI. As the entity gets closer, we can make out its form to look like a small person, and I think, holy fuck, the goblins are fucking real! But as this thing approaches, we find out it's actually a small child. He starts conversing with us like we're not 3 men in the darkness, so we chop it up with this kid, and we find out that he's just some middle schooler wandering around. Now we've acquired a new squad member added to the group, so we probably sit here with him for like 15 minutes until an imminent Jaime FaceTime comes through. Guys, fucking run! The fucking cops! Run! The fucking cops! We start to all panic because again, we are all the way on the top floor. We had imminent law enforcement approaching and had to scale 3 stories of building. The 3 of us immediately understood that we had to get out of there to avoid detainment, but the middle school kid we found was not on the same page. As we start to head out, he stays back, so we turn around like, "Come with us, little bro! We gotta move! I don't want to risk getting caught. I'm gonna hide somewhere." "What the fuck are you talking about? You dumb fucking kid! You're gonna get arrested, you fucking asshole!" This middle school child really thought the best operation was to hide in the same location these cops are about to search. I wasn't about to risk jail time saving a kid with $15 shoes, so the 3 of us just left him behind. We sprint down a story, then down another story, and then down another fucking story. We don't want to go out the front door. That would be like the first mission of GTA 5 in real life. We needed another route. So we sneak through a hole in the wall where there would have been a window that leads us to the back and climb over the fence. We had to be real sure our movements weren't suspicious, so we go down a block and circle the perimeter back to Jaime. Jaime's just sitting there in his bush, but with a quick inspection, we see no cops on the premises. So we confront Jaime like, "Where's the cops, little jit?" And he's like, "There are no cops. Because Jaime's stupid dumbass just got bored playing lookout and wanted to go home. So we start cooking him up because he's being a little baby. We make him eat shrubs to bully him. Bro was atomically down bad to go home. But the thing is, Jaime had no idea about the middle schooler in the building with us. Little bro got caught in the crossfire and was still in there believing that the cops could approach at any time. So we tell Jaime, there's a kid in there that thinks the cops are showing up because of you. But then the cops actually do pull up. We must have tripped one of those silent alarms, but that's besides the point. We had now somehow inadvertently set up a middle schooler to get caught trespassing by the police. The four of us watched the car pull up in complete silence just to see what happens. There was only one cop that gets out of his car and he starts entering the place with a flashlight. You'd think I should have felt bad for the kid here, but I was just glad that I wasn't the one getting caught. Kids don't face legal repercussions anyway, so I'm like, we should all just head out before we get caught. Yeah. I wanna go home anyway, so that works. Any room for me? So we all just started walking home with a skip in our steps, leaving the middle schooler storyline unfinished. Hopefully, that isn't the beginning of the kid's villain arc story, where he finds this video, tracks me down, and kills me in Planet Fitness under a Smith machine. But the journey home that night was restless. Me and Roman were paranoid with schizophrenia, seeing tall black figures lurking in the darkness. When we finally got home, a wave of relief washed over us, and I laid on the floor face down, booty up, melted into the carpet. I couldn't get up from the floor because I didn't want to stomach more goblin sighting videos. Those videos hit too hard. But when you've experienced your own real life goblin sighting, they hit even harder. So the moral of the story here, buy the Ninja clothes. If you wear it to school, your social credit will increase and you'll get unfathomable popularity and sex. Okay, bye guys.